Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Backstage at Open Highway podcast. I'm your host, John Henry. Thank you for tuning in. We have Gabe Lee this week on the pod. Sat down with him on Saturday night. He was helping his fiance move, so he took some time out of his busy schedule. We had a good chat about his music, different artists he likes, and all of this was in anticipation of his show on July 27th, Saturday, July 27th, at the Golden Record, Gabe Lee. So we are going to roll that interview here in just a second, but I wanted to chat about what an incredible lineup of shows we have for August. So we have Gabe Lee rolling it out, ending July on 7/27, as I just mentioned. But August, we have Rob Linus on August 8th, Sonny Sweeney on August 10th, Silverado, formerly Mike and the Moon Pies, one of my favorite bands of this type of music that we're all into. And then Ben Nichols, August 15th. Ben Nichols, as you know, is the lead singer of Lucero. He's doing a motorcycle tour, so that date is August 15th. All of these shows are at the Golden Record. And we hope that you will come to them. Yeah, it's a very cool room if you haven't seen it. 2720 Cherokee. We do a lot of shows with Golden Record and Old Rock House. Two really great rooms that we're lucky to have here in St. Louis. Last week I was joined on the pod by Chuck Mead, and his show was really great. I was up there with Jeff, Mr. Jeff Losey, partner in crime, and he said, look who's calling me right now. Literally the guy who I was just mentioning his name. Crazy. Jeff, I'm going to call you right back. But Chuck Mead, as I was saying, told me that he was giving me trouble about my podcast voice. And it's not really a podcast voice because I'm just sitting in a room talking. So thank you for the compliment. And thanks for an amazing show, Mr. Chuck Mead. That was a great time. But without further ado, Mr. Gabe Lee. Well, thank you for joining me on a Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad we hooked up. And like I was saying, I just got back from the UK, so this is just a couple days I have off, handling some family stuff, and we'll be back on the road, headed out to you guys soon.
Yeah, how was the UK?
I was opening up for a local guy out there. He's actually this guy Cody Pennington. He's actually from Nashville. He grew up in Nashville, but he found a lady and started a family out in the UK, and has been putting together these giant, massive shows out there. You know, thousands of people, and he's playing a lot of country hits, playing some originals, and he has openers from the States come over and play all of our original music as well. So we were there for about 2.5 weeks, just busting around the UK. It was a blast, man.
Yeah, do you notice any difference in an audience in the UK, say, to America?
So it's their filter for country music is definitely a little more broad, right? They're not as fine tuned into maybe the Hayes Carls of the world or the Chris Knights of the world, but they sure as hell know the hits. And I learned that pretty quickly because I play John. If I'm playing any covers in my set, it's John Prine maybe. But I quickly started to work in some Chris Stapleton covers into my sets overseas, and then doing like a Tim McGraw song or like an old George Strait song, because they're familiar with classics over there.
Classic, yeah.
But they just eat it up. I mean, everything you do as far as Americana, folk, bluegrass, country, they love out there. I mean, some of my pals have gone over recently with Ashley McBride and Lenny Wilson and Luke Combs, and the crowds are massive over there. So they're really sweet. They get all dressed up. They got the cowboy hats and the fringe and the boots. You know, they play the part.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen that. I've seen that some artists that we've worked with have done well over there. And you mentioned Hayes Carl and Chris Knight. Great
Yeah.
examples, I think, of that. And just I don't know Chris Knight as well, but Hayes Carl's like one of the nicest dudes around. So that's really cool.
Like,
Um,
yeah.
you're one of those Nashville natives. You're
Yeah.
you you were born there, raised, and then you went away to college in Indiana, if I'm not mistaken, on a
Mhm.
piano scholarship. So when you came back, did you have a new perspective on music, or was it just a continuation of things that you had going before you left?
Oh, definitely both. And the one edit I'll make to that background is I originally went to Belmont University for piano.
I got you.
So I was in a music school, a great music school, and um, quickly realized that I should probably that classical piano performance I wasn't cut out for, and I kind of built towards that through growing up playing in bands and all that, but classical piano was my thing for a long time, and so it was kind of what my parents wanted too. So when I finally busted into like music school, I it wasn't long until I figured out that maybe my music education would continue outside of the classroom.
Right.
And I think it was the right call. And I ended up going to Indiana and I studied literature and journalism. And just, I was always a big reader and writer. So I
Hmm.
think I also learned to communicate better. And I also got more experience just being a human being and evolving from a teenage dirtbag into a well-rounded person or
Yeah.
more well-rounded person. But yeah, when coming back to Nashville, which I'd always planned on doing immediately, it was hooking back up with my music buddies, playing in bands, bartending, and everything that comes along with being a musician in Nashville. And I think it was a good steady like growth and path that led me to finally meeting folks to help me cut records and teach me how to write and teach me how to perform and sing. And I'm still, yeah, man, I'm still learning today.
Yeah. My first awareness of your music was through the show last summer with American Aquarium here in St. Louis.
Yeah,
Big fans of American Aquarium and BJ. Non chud country. Just he's just laying it down,
yeah.
working hard. Um, and yeah, I wanted to see when I was listening, when I was first turned on to it, the song Eveline was one that I really loved right off the bat. You do one of my favorite things, which is beautiful melodies mixed with darker subject matter. And I just wanted to see if you had a process for when you go to write new music.
Sure. Man, I think it happens in different waves, in different formats all the time. Most often though, it's when I'm away from music, right? Most often
Hmm.
it's you're driving or you're in the cereal aisle, right? And you see something. Maybe it's somebody else like, in your presence or something that someone does, or maybe it's a story that your friend is telling you. You hear over dinner. And those are the kind of things that catch my ear when it comes to, I guess, lyrical content, and then I'll be meditating on that for weeks, months, years to come. Who knows? Like
Hmm.
sometimes I think one thing that I was innately I can't say that I was born with it, but one thing that I've learned over the years is a good deal of patience, and I have a pretty good well of patience. And when it comes to songs, I've experienced songs that take years to write.
Hmm.
So whenever I have something that I'm working on that doesn't happen like that, I'm willing to give it the time. That being said, occasionally you'll have a song that just kind of writes itself in in a couple minutes, which is really cool. The process is yeah, definitely patience. And then the voice memo thing on the phone,
Yeah.
like just singing little tunes to yourself. And I have thousands of, just oh my God, I'm sitting on an airplane, right next to the engine and I think of a tune and I'd
Mhm.
sing it into the iPhone, and you can't even you can't even figure it out later. You can't even decipher what you sang. I'm whispering like chords into the phone as
Yeah.
I'm singing the melody to try to maintain. But I always think that, if you have something worth putting down, if you have something good enough, it's going to stick or it's going to come back around.
Yeah.
Like even if you don't have, like, say we lived in a world without phones, and recording devices, like, quick recording devices, mobile recording devices, which has been a huge gift, I think, for modern songwriters. Say we didn't live with any of those things. Well, if you have something that's good enough, it will come back around in one shape or form. So, yeah, the process definitely is take time and enjoy the process, because like a lot of us are trying to nail down song ideas and be like, all right, I got it. I figured out the song idea. I've already cracked the code. This is going to be a great song. And sometimes you just need a little bit more life experience to make it work.
Yeah. That's a very interesting take. It's
Yeah,
cool to hear that. Yeah, the patience. Yeah, songwriters having to be patient in a time in society where everything is very instantaneous.
totally.
You get whatever you want right when you want it. Do you
Yeah.
do you with a piano background, do you ever find yourself writing on a piano?
All the time. But I think it takes listening to other writers who play on the piano, to stay, to be in the right for a mind frame to write on the piano, because a guitar, um, a guitar is intuitive, and it can be very simple, like, the John Prine thing, 30 chords and the
Hmm.
truth. There's not a lot musically behind that to maybe get in the way of writing words.
Right.
Then, on a piano, there's all these notes, all these, different chords. You got a left hand and a right hand, and sometimes, uh, I'm most inspired to write on the piano when I've listened to, like a Jackson Brown record,
Mm.
or a Billy Joel record, or Elton John. Those are the guys that really were, masters of that craft. So, I have on my records. I think out of three or four of my records, I've included one or two piano ballads on each record, except for the most recent record, which was like a bluegrass record. But it's a joy. It's a joy to be able to depart from the guitar, and it's another part of the writing process too. Is like, if you're working on something on guitar and you're kind of bored by it, or you think it's a little redundant, then you just grab
Mhm.
a mandolin, or you grab a banjo, or maybe switch to the piano and see what comes out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Are there any songwriters right now in this kind of world of Americana or otherwise that you're really into?
Oh, everybody. I mean, I think I like to reiterate this, and I've been saying this for the last few years. I mean, we're in a pretty good age. There's all these bands breaking out, and there's some really amazing talent. And I mean, you've got these great models for independent, Americana or roots singers coming up. Your Sturgill Simpson, your Tyler Childers,
Yeah.
and then before then you had Isbell and Brandy and Chris Stapleton. Like,
Hmm.
but these days, if we're talking about someone who like really captures attention in a way that you haven't seen in a long time, Sierra Farrell. I mean, she's just, her music's like, it's magical, it's intoxicating. It's its own thing entirely, which is very cool. I'm definitely fans of all my buddies that I kind of came up
Yeah.
with in Nashville songwriter rounds. The Ben Chapman, Meg McCree, Harper O'Neill, Tyler Halverson. These are all guys
Yeah. Yeah.
who are cutting our own path through music, and to varying degrees of success, but we're all making it in our own way.
Yeah. Very cool. That's great. Yeah. I mean, I really that basically touches on everything that I wanted to chat about. And maybe I'll
Cool.
just yeah, I mean we want to give on this pod like something like somebody could listen to on their way to work and just hear some thoughtful conversation about the music that we all really love. But you'll be in town here on July 27th here at the Golden Record. Really looking forward to that show. Um, who you're bringing support with you? It's Sophie, I believe it is. Is it,
Yeah, Sophie
yeah.
Galt. I'm bringing my band, and I'm also bringing an opener named Sophie Galt, who is a phenomenal singer songwriter. She really has this aged voice that like um just it reminds me of Emmy Lou sometimes. It reminds me of oh who's the rocker Car Wheels on a Gravel Road.
Lucinda Williams.
Yeah, she's Lucinda Williams in a lot of ways, and she's an amazing guitarist as well. She's played lead guitar in a lot of my bands
Oh,
in the
cool.
past, and will continue to do so. We'll probably feature her here or there. She sang on my last record, Drink the River, that she sang on the
Hmm.
title track. Um, and I'll be bringing in my own crew of players as well. So it's a short run that weekend. I think we're going from Newport, Kentucky
Yeah.
to go on record in St. Louis and then coming home, and with more stuff the following weekend in the Carolinas. But yeah, my two experiences ever playing in St. Louis. Yes, the first time was with American Aquarium at the Rock House.
Hmm.
I believe it's called, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's a great spot. We do shows there. Really cool team, yeah. And then
love that
Sheldon,
spot.
yeah,
Yeah, and then the second place was with Sierra Hull.
yeah, the
Um,
Sheldon,
that's right. That
yeah,
place was beautiful.
yeah, yeah,
And being um, uh, I guess, not even close to decent guitar player in a an opening for a band full of just shredders. Sierra
yeah.
Hull's band was just they're sick. I just did my storytelling thing for about 30 minutes in that beautiful room at the Sheldon, and I think I held my own. It was a lot of fun. So those are the two completely different experiences being in St. Louis. I've never been to the Golden Record before. I'm looking forward to it. I always like to Google ahead and look at pictures of the place just to get vibes, right? Um, and I trust my team, I trust my agent, and I trust the venue promoters. So I'm excited. We'll see what St. Louis has to offer. It'll be my first headline show for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a trait among artists like yourself that the teams that you put together are a reflection of you as an artist, and they're, very thoughtful business folks that want to create long-term careers. So, I think you'll have a good time, and it's been great chatting with you, especially in the middle of helping a move. Uh,
Yeah, man.
so, um, just a big fan of what you're doing, and after the American Aquarium show, definitely wanted to work with you as a headliner. So I'm happy that it's happening this week. Definitely going to be at the show saying hey, and we'll come hang out. But just a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, John. Yeah, thanks for promoting the show, having us back. We have some friends in the city. We've made friends in the city over the years, so we're excited to be back. And yeah, we'll see y'all there.
Okay, well, thank you, man. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. He's just such a thoughtful guy, and you could tell how seriously and how much he knows about his craft. I'm really looking forward to that show, and I mentioned it in the pod with him, or in the interview with him rather, that I was really drawn to the song Eveline. You should check that one out. I'll link the video that I saw on YouTube. It was really great. I've been listening to it a bunch since then. But don't miss Mr. Gabe Lee live at the Golden Record on Saturday, July 27th, with Sophie Galt opening. It's going to be a great show. Intimate performance of a very, very, very talented writer. So we hope you enjoyed that, and we appreciate you tuning in. Like and subscribe on here. It really does help us. We're just trying to spread the word. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for joining the Backstage at Open Highway Podcast with me, your host, John Henry Reed.